Oh, the meeting's being recorded. All right, welcome everyone. I was just saying Farcaster is Privy's lifeblood. A big part of it is where many of our customers live. It is actually where we found Peyton. So we have Farcaster to thank for those of you who enjoy working with Peyton on the Privy team. And there are a bunch of people who are trickling in from outside the Privy team, and they discovered that this was happening because I posted about it on Farcaster. So without further ado, let's jump in. We're going to learn about Farcaster today, what it is, why we're so excited about it, and where Privy fits into this whole thing. So please interrupt me as you have questions as we're going through this, and hopefully it's a fun time. And we've got Peyton, who's an expert, and Andrew, who's an expert, and Ankush, who's an expert in Farcaster. So if I say something that feels wrong and you want to correct it, please do so. All right, Farcaster 101. So to start, what is Farcaster? If you go into their docs, you're going to see that Farcaster is a sufficiently decentralized social network built on Ethereum. It's a public social network similar to Twitter or Reddit. Users can do some things. And so there's a bunch of words about what Farcaster is. But when I read this, at least when I read it up front, when I was learning about Farcaster, originally I'd get a bit confused. And I think examples are much easier to understand. So let's dive a layer deeper into what all of this means. So we're going to start with Warpcast, which is the app or client built on the Farcaster protocol. All this is going to make more sense in a few minutes. But Warpcast is the app that consumers use to interact with Farcaster. It's built by the Farcaster team. The team frames it as, if you go on their website, it's finding your tribe, like finding people who are talking about things you're interested in, and engaging with them. Let's go a layer deeper. So it's kind of like Twitter, but with more crypto content. That's one way to frame it. So when you sign into Farcaster, you see a content feed. You could like content. You could amplify it by reposting it. You could comment on it. You could share it. So it feels and looks a lot like Twitter, at least on first impression. Here is my profile on Warpcast, the Farcaster app. See, I've got a follower account. I've got people I'm following. It's got where I'm based. It's got a feed of my posts. Still looks pretty similar to Twitter here. And there's a little bit of Reddit energy on here as well. So with Farcaster, in addition to just having the feed, there's this concept of channels. And every channel is like a Reddit community forum. So right here, this is the consumer crypto channel. This I thought was a pretty funny post, which I think is becoming less true by the day. But someone, I guess, at ETHCC made a cake of the crypto stack, and it had like a bunch of the foundational infra here, and on top the application layer. And this person said the application layer is untouched. We think that's less and less true every day. But that was a funny post I found on Farcaster. But yeah, people in this consumer crypto channel, which is one of my favorite parts of Farcaster, you see people posting about all of the exciting new consumer apps. So a little bit of Reddit. And then in Warpcast, there are some cool crypto features as well. So again, we're just talking about the app Warpcast right now, which is kind of like a Twitter lookalike with a pinch of Reddit. And then they've got some cool crypto features. So to talk through some of them, the first is that when you create a Farcaster account, you get a wallet address. So right here, you see my FID, which is my Farcaster ID, and my Farcaster custody address. This is a wallet. It's invisible behind the scenes in Farcaster. It's something the Farcaster team built out themselves in an optimistic, nice, hopeful world. Maybe one day this can be powered by Privy embedded wallets. We'll see. So that is one foundational sort of crypto piece of Farcaster. You don't really, there's not much happening with this wallet today, but it exists, and it's there's a ton of option value as Farcaster builds more and more crypto features. Then you have this verified addresses concept in Farcaster. So this is an area where you can connect all of the wallets you own to your Farcaster account. So it's the same thing as like linking a wallet to your Privy account. I have my primary MetaMask wallet address linked as well. So I have 2 Farcaster wallets associated with my profile. And then you can always connect more wallets to your Farcaster profile. We'll go into like how these are used in a second. You could do Ethereum or Solana wallets. So that's one foundational crypto element. The second is payments. This is a really cool thing that Warpcast does. So the first thing on the payments front I'll talk about are these things called warps. It's the in-app currency of Farcaster. So my account has 510 warps, and I could use these warps to pay for things in Farcaster. And I can purchase warps to add to my warps balance, or people can also gift me warps. And so if I went for $5 and purchased 500 warps, I could fund that with my MetaMask or my Coinbase account, and then I could pay for things in the Farcaster app. It's a really cool concept. This is a shape we're seeing companies like Zora embrace as well, where you purchase the in-app currency outside the app, and then you have a really easy way of paying for things natively. And it allows you to get around some of the Apple App Store complexity. So you don't actually have to like make the purchase in the Apple app. So it's one payment feature in Farcaster that's really cool. And the other is I could just go to anyone's profile and pay them money. And so I'm actually, luckily for Andrew, I'm going to do this right now and pay him $1. And you can see how it works. So I'll go to Boop, which is Andrew, and I'm going to pay him, and I'm going to pay him $1. And this is being funded via USDC on Base from my verified address from my wallet. And so when I click continue in wallet, I get the MetaMask pop-up saying, do you want to actually give, this one USDC to Andrew? And I just paid him $1 natively in the Farcaster app. I think this is a really cool shape. I see a hand raised in the room. Asta?
Does this payment have anything to do with warps, or is that like totally separate? And did Farcaster or did Warpcast do anything to facilitate this payment, or was that like fully a transaction that you did with your linked, linked wallet that wasn't the Farcaster custody address or anything like that?
Two amazing questions. The first is, did this have anything to do with warps? No, but I'm about to show you something that did have something to do with warps. So this is paid via USDC, not warps. And the second is it comes from my verified address, so my MetaMask, not my Farcaster custody address, where I already had USDC sitting on Base. And then I paid Andrew, and I'm not actually sure, Andrew, if that went to your verified. I'm assuming it went to your custody address, not your verified address. Is that right?
It went to my verified address. So I just shared, I got a notification on my main wallet that I received 1 USDC.
So it has nothing to do with, this is totally like sitting above Warpcast. It's MetaMask to, his Coinbase wallet using our ENSs. Does that answer your question, Asta?
Yeah.
So very cool shape that Farcaster has these prompts now that connect the social graph to a payment layer sitting on top, which is just standard wallet to wallet payments that Farcaster is, prompting. I'm going to keep going.
Just to understand so those embedded wallet addresses haven't really, are they serving any sort of transactional purpose, or is it just sort of metadata about like, this is a user?
the custody address, this concept here is at this point, you know, as far as I can tell, not powering anything in the app
Okay.
yet. But
The only
that's
thing that if you were to look up that address in like a base or optimism scan, you would see that it has like two transactions. Like one is like register a Farcaster account and get a FID back. And then maybe like an F name, like which adds your username or something like that. But that's really all that it's specifically doing. It's signing Farcaster contract specific things right now.
It's built on optimism,
Optimism.
not base.
Base
Okay.
launched like 9 months after.
Mhm.
No, much more, a year and a half after. So yeah, they're
if
optimism.
yeah, it would probably be base if it were built today. But I'm gonna keep us moving. You'll see there's a lot of base overlap. Okay, and then the last very cool crypto feature is this concept of frames that launched in the beginning of this year. Frames are like programmable tweets, you could think of them as. And so you could do anything from like create a poll with a frame. So I could say, do you think Farcaster needs a visually forward client to attract young people? Yes, no. And if I click yes, no, you would see the poll results. Or you could even embed a mint into the Farcaster feed. So they have like a really cool integration with Zora, where if you post a Zora minting page, the mint functionality actually shows up in the feed. And I'll show you this right now because I think it's pretty awesome. So, all right, this is the Zora CFO posted this picture of San Francisco on Zora. And so if I go and try and mint this, this actually defaults to a Warps payment flow. And I could pick which wallet I want to receive the Zora NFT. And then if I click mint, now with the Warps, I've funded this Zora mint, and the NFT is going to land in my MetaMask. And I minted, and that's the second time I've minted this. And so I think I've minted 2 out of the 2 mints for this photo. And so Susan better be happy about that. All right, so those are the cool crypto-y features of the Warpcast app. So we talked about Warpcast. It's like a Twitter clone-ish with some Reddit stuff, a lot of crypto content, and some cool crypto features. And so Warpcast is cool, and we love it. But things actually get a lot more interesting when we start talking about the protocol. And so like kind of how Farcaster is architected is what I think makes it so powerful. And so I screenshotted 2 architecture diagrams that I'm not actually sure make the point that I'm trying to make. But the point I'm trying to make is that everything about Farcaster is out there for anyone to build on top of. So the account registry, every post, all the likes, that's all data that you can build your app on top of. And you can actually add to the underlying pool of data that is Farcaster from non-Farcaster apps. So if I wanted to create a random app, then I can do everything from, and we're going to go through this together right now, creating an account, writing a post, liking other people's content, all outside of the Warpcast app. And I think this is what makes Farcaster really special and powerful. And there's one other architecture point that one of Peyton or Andrew can probably expand on, which is like none of this data is like centrally managed by Farcaster. They have like distributed nodes that all of the data like jointly lives on in a consensus algorithm, so that there's no like real single point of failure with any of this data. And I'm going to stop talking before I say something wildly inaccurate, and feel free to jump in if there's anything else you want to add about this cool part of the Farcaster architecture.
No, I feel like that was a good way of describing it. Just that like copies of data are kind of spread across multiple nodes that kind of like share between each other. So there's not a single point of failure like you mentioned.
Love it. Okay, so now let's talk about why this is so cool. So you can build apps on top of Farcaster. This is Dracula, one of our OG Farcaster customers and one of the ones I love. It's a TikTok lookalike where you upload videos, and when you upload a video, it posts to the Farcaster feed. But the thing I want to highlight with Dracula here is you see I've got my follower graph because I signed in with Farcaster. So when I'm scrolling through the feed, I don't need to like individually follow other accounts. The algorithm is surfacing videos to me based on people I already follow on Farcaster. So Dracula was able to bootstrap their social graph and like the content that I'm likely interested in based on my followers on Farcaster. All I have to do is sign in with Farcaster. So that's one. This is Sonata. I think it's a really cool example of just a really like purpose-built app. This is a music sharing app that enriches the Farcaster feed. I'll show you how it works in action. So if I go to Sonata, it's basically like a way to curate a playlist based on channels, which likely have pools of shared interests. So this is the bangers channel, which is a place where people post songs that they think are bangers. And all it takes to post a song is you go to Spotify. This is like more fun and easy on mobile, but okay. I've already got Espresso loaded. I'm going to copy the song link and I just paste it here, click cast. And so now I added Espresso to the bangers channel. If you go to my profile, you'll see that it automatically posted to Warpcast here. And so that's awesome. Like I post, a song I like in one app and it surfaces on every other Farcaster app. And then just to continue talking about Sonata, because I love it, I have a tip allowance where I could just tip songs I like, and then the songs that get the most tips surface to the top. And so it creates this like really cool concept of like, okay, everyone who's interested in this channel is jointly agreeing on which songs they like the most. And so I'll tip this one crazy amount to see if we could bump them to the top spot. Okay, so that is Sonata. Really cool example of a Farcaster app. Next, we're going to talk about degen. This is another one of the things that I just think is so cool about Farcaster. So organically, this token called degen came together and earlier this year became accepted as the tipping economy on top of Farcaster. So this guy in Poland, he's kind of hacker developer, stood up this token called degen. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but somehow everyone on Farcaster agreed that when a post deserves appreciation, you comment on the post degen, a degen balance. And because all of this data is, everything from my verified wallets to all of my post data, because it's all open, public, easy to build on, degen was able to distribute an allocation of the token to everyone in Farcaster. The token lives in the verified address, so it lives in my MetaMask. And so I have some balance that I could then, just by commenting a degen number on a post I like, give my balance to other Farcaster users. And so this entire tipping economy just organically came together. And now every time you see posts that people appreciate, you'll see these things. I posted like a song I liked. This guy was like, I love this song. I'm going to give you some degen. and then I earned money for posting good content. And none of this was built by the Farcaster team. Austin.
How does that actually work? Like,
Yeah,
how does the transaction get sent?
So I'm likely going to butcher this again. Peyton or Andrew, please jump in. But it's based on an allowance concept. So every wallet has a tipping allowance mapped to it. And then during specified periods, you can spend your allowance via tips. And then the allowance gets like settled at the end of that period. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I could have butchered that.
Yeah, so one key element to this is that your allowance is not your holdings. So it's typically a function of your holdings, your interactivity, and things like that. But this is net new degen entering the world, which is why if you comment there, the degen folks can actually settle it themselves because they'll generate the degen and send it to you.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and so that was like this allowance. Yeah. And so that was even the Sonata thing, like that's probably an allowance-based system. So you don't have to have everybody online at the time of settle.
Sonata notes are off-chain, but they're going on-chain and they're going to use Privy for it. And we're very excited. So if anyone from Sonata at some point is listening to this, we love you. So degen, I think, is one of the coolest things I've seen. Just like a whole economy came together on top of Farcaster because this data is all public and because there's this on-chain system underpinning it. People are actually earning real money for posting good content. And yeah, this still blows my mind that this like just happened. And I don't think it's talked about enough. Supercast is sort of the putting it all together. Another one of my favorite examples of the power of Farcaster. Danny Spellcheck. Oh, what's that? There's a user, Danny Spellcheck, and they said, I'm having fun testing something cool in the Warpcast app. This is mind-blowingly cool. Someone with an email created a fresh Farcaster account and started posting to the Farcaster feed from outside of Farcaster. The fact that any app can now bootstrap their own Farcaster account creation flow and start posting Farcaster content to the feed, this is like a massive deal. I think it's like a really cool win-win, both for the app that they can build on top of like the rich Farcaster data, and then obviously for Farcaster, because it really strengthens the value of the protocol and the social network they're building. So that flow, I think, brings what's so cool about Farcaster all together really nicely. I'm going to wrap quickly because we only have a minute. How does Privy fit into this? There are two big capabilities we offer for Farcaster. One is read access. So, an app like Dracula can let their users sign in with their Farcaster account and then read from all of the data associated with that account on the Farcaster protocol. We serve a bunch of that data natively. And then if you want richer data than what Privy serves you, you could use a service like Nanar or Airstack to pull even more data from the Farcaster protocol into your app. And then write capabilities. This is a much more intricate feature where you as the user can give an app permission to write to the Farcaster protocol. And so this is check-in caster. It's sort of like an on-chain spin on Foursquare. And I could like go to check-in caster. And yeah, I did a check-in in the Presidio in San Francisco. And that gets like posted to the Farcaster feed because I granted write permissions. So to save the best for last, the reason, even if none of this exciting stuff existed, I think the key reason to be excited about Farcaster as Privy is and this is a fact because of all the exciting stuff. It's where our entire market lives. Anyone building a consumer app on chain is spending a lot of their time posting on and consuming content from Farcaster. And so it is where I spend probably 20% of my day, at least at this point, is going through the feed, DMing people, doing Privy support on Farcaster. A lot of people post like tech questions in the Privy channel. And you know, when you have a resource like this where your entire market all spends all of their time in one place, that is a beautiful thing. Most markets don't have something like this, and we're very lucky that all of the relevant builders are coming together on Farcaster. And last but not least, my CTA for you all is to sign up for Farcaster if you don't have an account and start engaging. And I posted all of the Farcaster accounts that I could find among the Privy team here. You'll notice that some of us have this little lightning bolt next to our names. That means that we are power users. It means we post on Farcaster all the time and our content gets super ranked. And that's really important for driving engagement. And so for those of you who don't have power badges, there's a very simple way to get them, which is to just post a lot. And if you're not on this page, that's even worse than not having a power badge, because that means that you're not engaging on Privy Farcaster content. So please get on this page. I'm not going to name names, but I'm looking at some of the people who are not on this page, and I really want to change that. So signing up for Farcaster is very easy. Let me know if you have questions. I will follow you, like all of your content, so you have a guaranteed audience of at least one and probably more. And that's it. I had a lot of fun deep diving on Farcaster, and I hope you all enjoyed.